Hi, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and today we're going to look at the tension assembly for this Kenmore model 148.130 series. That would include the 13022, the 13010, and whatever other various numbers start with 130. So, these are your parts laid out in order. I'm assuming that if you're looking for instructions on how to assemble the tension, chances are you already have the tension disassembled. So here we have it laid out in order from the first piece that comes off to the last piece. And these two could actually be interchanged if you wanted to be technical, but we don't want it to be technical. So as I said, we're going to start on this end. You'll see that the check spring has a loop here. And the stem, when you insert it into the check spring, you want to insert it in with the threaded end facing up and the little shaft facing down. And bypass the loop there, bypass that loop, and go directly down into the center of the spring. And for convenience, we're going to put the loop over the top of it just to hold the spring in place until we're ready to start putting the parts on it. When the check spring, when the stem goes in, the check spring is going to rest on this little stop right here. This whole edge here is raised, and right here is where it's going to stop. So when we put the stem in, you want to put it in so that the check spring is down maybe a quarter of a turn from that edge. That way it'll have some spring to it when it gets inserted. Make sure that the stem goes all the way in. It's all the way seated until you can see the other end of it on the back of that barrel there. And just for good measure, you can give it a couple of taps with something that's not too metallic. It's not going to mess up the end of your stem. And then tighten the set screw. Now, bring the spring up until it rests on its stop there, and you'll have lots of, this is what keeps a little bit of tension on your thread between stitches. When the needle's coming back up and your thread starts to get a little bit slack, this holds a little tension on it. Okay, let's push it in, and you'll notice that there are two notches here and the set screw. Those all face up. Aha! So we're going to change something right now while I'm thinking of it, because you want the slot in your stem to be horizontal when the tension assembly is all assembled. So you want it horizontal to that set screw there. See? Slots that way. Push it in. Oh, wait, don't push it in. This piece here with the big thread guide on it goes on next. The thread guide facing out, of course. And you'll see that there is a little tab right here. That little tab corresponds to this cutout in the edge of the barrel. So when you slide it on, that little tab is going to go into that cutout. Just right there like that, and then up tight against the back of that. And then push it into the machine with your thread guide horizontal, and check that your stem is horizontal. The set screw here holds it all in place. Okay, what I'm doing next to go in is your tension release pin. You want to make sure that it's not sticky. If it's sticky, take a little bit of alcohol and clean it. Then slip it in right down the center of the stem. There's a hole there inside, and it'll push all the way in back like that. And this stem here is what releases your tension. When you raise your presser foot and the tension discs spread apart, it's because of this little pin in here. It pushes the discs apart. So let's take this outer loop off for now, and we're going to take the tension discs, make sure that they're clean. Take a little bit of steel wool, clean off any gunklets on them. Look for places where the thread has scored it, and if you find there's little if your fingernail can feel little grooves in the flat edge where the thread's going to ride, get some super fine sandpaper and get that just as smooth as you can. Or get replacement discs if they're really bad. Make sure they're both clean and look good, feel good. Put the two discs together, facing each other. Two convex sides facing each other, so it looks like an old-fashioned butterfly yo-yo. Then those lay into this piece. You'll notice that this piece has a little tab on the back. That little tab is going to go into the little slot at the top. And this piece is going to go on after them. So let's put these pieces on first. Again, try not to bend your spring any more than you have to. And put that slot into the second notch, the notch closer to the hand wheel, because you want this little notch here to be facing up. This piece here goes on next, and the spring is going to go into that little slot before you put it on. Right in there like that. Then put the loop on. Now your spring is all the way on there. Double check that that this back plate here didn't come out of its slot. And then this piece goes on the stem. Okay. This piece here, you'll notice that it's got a tab on either side of the hole. Those go into the sides of the slot here. Like that. So the slot's going to be facing up. All right, pull my little keeper out of the slot again back there. The slot is going to be on the upper side so that your check spring can ride in that slot. Go back and land against its stop there. This next piece is the little, it's a dual purpose piece. This little cup holds the spring in place, and The spring is going to set in there like that. And it also has this little band across the middle that's going to cover that whole slot. See, it's going to slide right into the slot there. And that's what that little pin is going to push against to take the pressure off of your tension discs. So after this little cup here, put the spring on. And then this piece here is the crux of the whole thing. Well, one of the cruxes. I guess the tension discs are pretty important. This piece goes on so that the part that protrudes sticks into the spring. It's yeah, like a little hat kind of, and the top of the hat goes in towards the machine. And screw this on to the stem evenly. And this piece here is important because this is the piece that actually sets your tension. This is the adjuster. Your knob, you can see it's got a little key in it, and that when you put it on, that key is going to go between two of those little teeth. When you turn your knob, you're actually turning this gotta be a good name for it. Anyway, this little nut that's got the crenellations all the way around. Now this is how you set the tension. Put a piece of thread between the tension discs, and you'll probably feel a little bit of drag on the thread. You want to back this crenellated nut off until you don't feel any drag on your thread at all. Then tighten it down just a hair until you just barely start to feel a little bit of drag on your thread. And then back it off again just a hair until you don't feel any drag. And that's it. That's your zero position, zero tension on your dial. Next, without turning that nut, put the little washer on, a little thin flat washer, and I just turned the nut. So I'm going to double check. Yeah, right there. Perfect. Then after that little thin flat washer, the knob goes on with the mark pointing up. And that little keeper in the back is going to go between two of the teeth on that crenellated nut and, yeah, I guess it is a nut. And this little square spring washer goes on next with the curved side facing out, the four little feet facing in towards the inside of the knob. It's right there on it, and then this piece is the stop that keeps your knob from going past zero and just unwinding all the way. So this knob goes on, and it's also got two little protrusions on the inside that keep it from spinning. And it's going to be just right at the edge of that keeper. So, oops, not far enough. There we go. Something's not far enough. Backing up. I'm going to put the thin flat washer on. Then the knob. Then the spring washer. Then this little keeper. it's got a rough side. Okay, there's a little tiny tab on one end of the spring, on the bottom end of the spring, and on the back of the number dial there's a corresponding recess for that spring to go into. So you want it to go on with that little tab facing out towards you. And your number dial, again with the that little tab going into the slot at the bottom. Yeah. Just press it in there and make sure that you have it oriented so that that tab is going into the slot at the bottom of the dial. And put your screw in. There we go. And then we test it. Here's 0 tension. And you're going to turn it up to about 3. There. Yeah, that feels like just about the right amount of drag for, like if you're sewing shirting or thin denim maybe, or just medium weight material. 3 is a good place to set your tension. Then of course you can adjust down a little bit or up a little bit if you feel like if you're seeing loops on the bottom of your fabric, that means you don't have enough upper tension, because the upper tension is what pulls the bottom threads up tight. The lower tension is what pulls the top down tight. So that's it. A lot of extra verbiage there, but you basically get the idea. That's how your tension goes back together. And again, we are Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, stagecoachroadsewing.com. And if you come out to the website, you're going to see lots and lots and lots and lots of beautiful machines that we've restored over the last 25 years or so. We've actually restored well over 1,000 machines, but you'll find a few hundred machines posted on the website, pictures from all different angles, and a little bit of information about each machine. And once we get back to our main shop in Oregon, we're in the Sonoran Desert right now for the winter. We come down here every winter, and I just built this little shop in an old kit companion trailer, 16-foot Can-Am trailer. And that's our winter shop. And every year I'll be coming down here and restoring sewing machines in this shop. But when we get up to Oregon and have access to our warehouse, then we'll put the rest of our machines that are for sale back on the website, because then we'll have access to our warehouse and be able to pack them and ship them for you, which we cannot do from here. So again, stagecoachroadsewing.com. Come see pretty sewing machines, maybe buy one, and thanks for watching.